This is the unpopular truth about moving to a bigger city to make more business and make more money and grow as an entrepreneur, as a founder. And that is, presence does not mean participation. This is one of the biggest lessons that I've had from moving to London. I moved to London last year. I've been here for a year and I've learned a lot of stuff. Being in a bigger city can absolutely put you in touch with the right people to move you up 10 levels, right? The one contact could change everything. At the same time, it could also massively waste your money. It could be just a massive waste of money. And it comes down to presence and participation and separating the two. When I came to London, I thought that presence meant participation. So by coming here, I would have more serendipity and I'd have more opportunities because I'd be around more ambitious people and stuff like that. A year later, I now realize there's a very distinct effort to participate in a city and to actually benefit from that serendipity. And so I'm going to talk to you about kind of my experience of what I did right and what I did wrong, and then how to do it right if you do ever want to move to some kind of bigger city. Starting with kind of my experience, basically I moved here because some friends said they had a room. Initially it was for a month, then they needed somebody for 12 months. And I said, yeah, I was like excited about it and I wanted to move. Okay, let's do a bigger city, let's move somewhere. Overall, I learned loads of lessons, but I also didn't get as much out of it as I wanted. A year later, I now think if I stayed here for another year or another year or two, I would start to get more out of it, but only because I've learned these lessons in the first year. And so, save yourself a lot of pain by doing this stuff. But basically, what I did in the first kind of 6 to 9 months is I didn't know how to participate, and I was figuring that out on the go. So what I mean by that is I came and then I found communities here. Like I threw myself at them and I got into communities that weren't that relevant to me. Like I got into a couple private clubs, which were nice, but just they didn't have the people that I was looking for. It wasn't necessarily founder specific. It was people who, sure, maybe I can make some friends, but like they were not going to help me level up in business. And so that was the first kind of mistake that I did, is I just thought that I just needed to find some kind of community. Communities can bring you social life. If you want business, you need business communities. You need to get in touch with those kinds of people. The lesson to take from there is do your homework before you move to a place. So before, I came to London or whatever, I should have really been thinking, how am I going to make this worth my money? How am I going to participate in that serendipity? Because if you are an online founder, your job is generally pretty much to be by yourself all the time. You don't have a work environment where you can level up like serendipitously because you're at an office and you might meet the MD or the director on your lunch break by accident, right? Like you might bump into him having a coffee. That's not going to happen. It's because you're not at an office most of the time. You can go to nice places. You can go to nice coffees, nice bars, nice dinners. You don't want to rely on that to meet people, basically, because everybody's doing their own thing. And so you need to find the events and the communities where your type of person is going to be. And if you don't have that as a really clear picture before you go somewhere, then you're probably going to waste more money and time than you are going to make it back. I really should have done more of this before moving completely to London. Like I should have had enough business reason to come here regularly that eventually moving here would make sense. If you want to move to a bigger place to get more opportunity, you have to have at least an idea of what that opportunity looks like so that you can look for it. If you find something else along the way, that's also a possibility and it could change everything, great. But if you don't even know what you're looking for, the likelihood that you stumble onto something is way, way, way lower. Toward the 9-month mark, I started to realize this and I started to apply to some other more founder-specific communities. And I did find people who are a lot more relevant. But now I'm reaching the end of my stay here and basically I am potentially getting an opportunity to get funding and go to the US basically. And so I'm unlikely to stay here. If I did, I would start to make a lot more out of it because I'm starting to get into the right communities. But if I had done this from the start, I'd be way further. I did join one business club, but again, it was the wrong type of business club. It has people who are a lot more corporate, a lot more senior. And these are people who, they could be cool connections, but I don't have enough common ground with them to make friends out of them. And if you can't make friends with people, it's really hard to build great business relationships. Businesses do business with business friends. This is one of my clients' things. Like he's big on kind of country club marketing. That's what he calls it. And I'm a big fan of that philosophy. Businesses do business with business friends. And if you can't make business friends, you're not going to make business with anybody here. It's this uncomfortable, unpopular truth. You have to do your research. You have to do your homework. If you are online, you don't have a good reason to be in a physical space with anybody. And so you want to make sure that you are finding the right type of people. And that's not as easy as it seems. Like it takes upfront effort. If you spend 6 months just working and not actually going to the communities and stuff, all you're doing is you're paying really high rent, really high living costs for the same effect that you would otherwise get living somewhere for way, way, way cheaper. And at that point, it's not worth it. I'm a big believer in focus. So like, I don't think splitting your time is ideal. I do think living in an expensive city makes sense when you know how to participate in it. That's the big thing. I think London is absolutely worth it. I just needed to know who I was looking for way earlier, and I could have way more out of it, but I didn't. And that was my mistake. I thought that just by being somewhere, you get the effects or, the benefits of it. And that's not the case. You need to participate proactively. You need to go out of your way. You need to make an effort to schedule dinners, to schedule drinks, to go to meetings, to go to events, to make friends, to meet people, shake their hands and get their numbers, because nobody's going to do that for you. And you have no pre-existing context to do that, right? If I came with, let's say, McKinsey or some big employer, I have a reason to go and meet people. And so then the serendipity is created for you. As an online founder, you don't have that. So don't assume that it comes with it. My founder friend is here, actually. He's my editing guy. And he has expressed to me, wanting to move to a bigger city because of the serendipitous opportunities. And he sounds exactly like me before I came here. And it's like, for anybody who's in that position, just bear in mind, just by coming here, you're not going to get anything. Like, just by being in London, you don't get anything. Everybody's busy with their own lives. Everybody's got their own jobs. Everybody's got their own families, friends, and, partners, parties, and events to go to. They don't care about you. And so you have to do something for them. You have to go out of your way. You have to spend money and pay the cost of entry to these clubs, pay the cost of entry to the dinners, to the events. It is cost on top of living. Living is the base cost. And then on top of that, you will have to pay for participation in certain circles. And so make sure you come with that idea in mind. Don't come with the wrong impression, basically. Leave any questions about this kind of stuff. I think it's one thing that I can speak on quite well is kind of what it's like to be really moving around a lot as a founder, the benefits and the drawbacks. And I thought coming to bigger cities was always the move, and it can be, and I still back it. It's just like, I should have prepared more. I should have done more homework. If you're thinking about doing the same, please do your homework and you'll save so much more money. That's a wrap. And I'm going to go ahead and get on with my work. So I will reply to a couple comments now. So leave them below and then I will get back to work.